everybody, and welcome back to Telialigaen week number 8 for the major broadcast. Once again, my name is Bass in the Pass, and joined alongside me is the lovely Hyferia. And Hype, we are back once again. 2 weeks left in this incredible event, and right now we are pretty much solidified for playoffs. But now we're fighting for seeding, trying to get that number 1 spot, trying to secure that number 1 spot against Nordavind and AW3, who are right on our heels. But against Playwell, this is a rather doable position. I'm excited for this one. How are you doing on this Thursday, my friend?
I'm doing absolutely lovely and really looking forward to this match as well. Even though Playwell do not come in the favorites whatsoever, I think we can be upfront with that. I think we can just state that off the get-go. Because, well, Playwell are fighting to stay away from the bottom, whereas Major are fighting to stay at the top. So it's going to be a bit of a mismatch. Even though Playwell, they're currently sitting in 7th, doing decently for themselves. And I think the Playwell are just shooting to stay in that position.
Yeah, they're shooting to stay in the league. That's basically what they're hoping for right now, is because they drop another position, they go to promotional playoffs, where they still do technically have a chance to stay in the league. They go 2 positions lower, 9 or 10, all of a sudden, they no longer have the position to do so. So getting some good games here is actually going to make a huge difference for them, considering there are multiple teams around their area that have similar amounts of wins and similar amounts of losses. They want to have the best differential possible here. So let's see, can they find that? This is game number 1 in this best of 6. Again, a tie is possible. It's not likely, but for Playwell, that's probably what they're shooting for here.
Absolutely. His lucky trust taken to the center already. Mads far back in the rotation. I guess in his own corner. I'm personally looking at that 4-0 sweep. Yet again, we've basically done it every single week except one where we... I don't want to say through against Factor Revolution, but where Factor Revolution got the better of a Major for that one game. And I do realize that the teams are on the wrong side. This time it's on me, though. I didn't tell them.
This time you didn't tell them. It's all right. You know what? It wouldn't be esports if there wasn't a little bit of a hiccup going along the way here. But so far, no hiccups for the team. A solid start here for Major, as they have not given up a goal and had some decent amounts of pressure, but they need to get a solid shot on target now. They need to find themselves that opening goal to really set the tone. We don't want to give any extra momentum to Playwell, and giving them an early lead would be detrimental to our success. Although we're going to have to be rather careful. Playwell really putting the pressure on right now. Internet going to try and put in a shot here. Pops it around back of Lucky. Mats is there for the save, and Magma has to clear that out. Scary situation. Major enduring a lot of pressure right now, Hyferia, but looking pretty strong. As long as they don't make any mistakes in the back end, they should be all right.
I think these are the kind of games where Major are at their worst, where they're kind of trying to break out but not quite managing, and on the side of a Playwell, they're managing to hold their defense incredibly well, not quite making any mistakes, and that's exactly what you need to do against Major, because any single mistake, and they will be all over that.
That's a big game for Major here. Like we said, they really want to try and solidify themselves at the top of this table, give themselves the best position going into playoffs, and taking a win here would be absolutely insane for them. Just their chances to confirm that number 1 position would be massive. And, well, we talk about game differential in favor of Playwell here, who really need it. Game differential for us probably also going to be pretty important as well. The teams up at the top are very close in contest here, so taking another 4-0 would be huge for our team.
Absolutely, and then it's still all gonna come down something that we've been pitching the entire time. That final week against AW3, that will be such a massive one. But first, we have to get through this series. The first goal will be falling for Playwell.
Uh-oh, that's not exactly what we were looking for here. 1-0 in favor of Playwell halfway through this game, and I gotta be honest, that's a little bit of a weak defense there. The challenge out of midfield was a little bit inopportune, and we just left ourselves very vulnerable. First game going to Playwell could be detrimental here. Like we said, game differential is so important. We really don't want to give up any unnecessary games.
Giving up unnecessary games will just make it a bit more awkward for the ending of the season. You want to take matters into your own hands. You want to do the best you physically can, and that is sweeping every single week, which, to be fair, they have gotten incredibly close to, as I said, except for that 1 week. Internet taking it past Choke to the backboard. Doesn't quite have enough boost in the tank to get that second tap, but it will be tapped down in the end, straight into the hands of Lucky. Booms it down the other end. Internet with a whiff. Choke still on the backboard. That's an awkward play, but finally, it does get cleared.
A little bit of an awkward play still continuing here, though. The 50-50 is going to go right into the backboard, so Major will continue to take shots, and Magma will find a goal. Equalizer here only about 40 seconds after the first.
Incredibly a quick shot by Magma, and Choke and Cyrac just not quite having enough pace on, and it is a boomer. It was a boomer now. And they have to move on, try and recuperate their losses, trying to see what they can do better. But Mazzy's already hunting for the second. They got the taste of blood in their mouth, and they want more.
And they're still trying to hunt here, looking for another goal, trying to solidify themselves here in game number 1. After going down by 1 early, you can tell a fire has been lit underneath this Major team. They are ready to come back into this one. Magma ready to pre-jump, apparently. A little bit of a bold move there. It's not going to really hinder the team, though, as they should be able to get an offense together here. Magma, good touch on out, but is there going to be a follow-up? It will be from the same player. Magma puts a shot on target, and Cyrac just has to kind of clear that one out. Bold moves here from both teams. There's a lot of free space being given right now, Hyferia. It kind of feels like whichever team is able to utilize this best is most likely going to take this game.
As of this moment, it is certainly Major who are moving into the attack a bit more efficiently and are hanging around there longer as well, really trying to make Playwell succumb to the pressure. As of right now, Playwell are holding their own incredibly well. Lucky tries to pass it off to the center to a Magma who started pre-jumping already, and once again, you don't want to do that at the initial game where it's also still 1-1. With a pinch like that, it might just come far. Internet whiffs, but Choke still gets the read.
We've seen a lot of pre-jumps out of this team, but that's not really important right now. What really is 30 seconds left, and Major have taken the lead yet again from a beautiful passing play.
It's a great one. Infield pass straight to Magma, and the initial shot was hard. This one was even harder. 110 kph, more oomph on it with 30 seconds remaining. This will be an incredibly difficult one for Playwell to try and bring back, and as soon as the Major kind of start getting into that groove and started getting into that winning way, that's where you usually see these kind of series get out of hand, because Major are still the favorites.
They're still the favorites, but they got to be careful here. With just a couple of seconds left, the offense is starting to build here. Choke just needs a 50-50 to keep this one alive, and will not find it. Wait a minute, that's going to bounce. Internet's up for this one. Shot not on target, but Choke not able to get the shot either. An insane save from Magma will save us and save the game as well. 1-0 in favor of Major, and oh my, I thought that was going to be a bit of a calm game. Last 5 seconds made my heart race.
How was it? Ooh, okay. Sure, we move on. And great stuff out of Magma. Let me just tell them to swap teams as well. There we go. Always love being in-game admin, streamer, and a caster. I really hope they saw the message as well.
I don't think they did.
No.
There we go.
There we go.
Woo!
There we
you can
go.
See our little communication with the team here today. Just trying to give them the encouragement possible, remembering that all of these players are absolute studs in their own rights. But unfortunately, the reality is only one of the teams can walk away a winner here. And, well, we're looking for Major to do that again. Continue with their winning streak. Still not a loss throughout the season, Hyferia. We're the only team, I think, that has not taken a loss. Maybe AW3 join us there, but the domination has got to continue here today. We need a good result against Playwell.
Absolutely, and this is going to be confusing. One, a triple commit for the side of a Major, but they have joined now their respective sides. Lucky on the clear away. Internet close up that gap early, but Internet still lurking. Choke should be able to rip an angle. Looking with a good 50. That will sail all in. Might just lob on target. No, it's Cyrac went to clear away. Mads all the way back in defense. Tries to pop it into the center. It's a straight shooter right into the hands of Lucky. Rips one, but it's wide.
Imagine if that shot had gone on target out of the corner there. That would have been something special. Unfortunately, not quite able to do so, and the team still not with a goal here within the first minute. Lucky going to try to make me eat my words as they launch a lobber right down the pitch. It's not going to go on target, or at least it's not going to go uncontested, I should say. I gotta say, Playwell doing a good job so far here, really staying on top of the ball and not giving us the same amount of space as a lot of the other teams we have faced here in Telialigaen. They look pretty capable. It's kind of surprising to know that this team is near the bottom of the leaderboards here. They are playing very well against us, just unfortunately not quite able to find the same sort of edge that we have against them.
Yeah, and Playwell might just have the strongest 0-4 showing against us that we've had. Already predicting the future with that.
We got to get there first, my friend. We still have 3.5 minutes remaining, and at this moment, we actually don't have a goal here in game number 2. We still need to actually take the win at that point, and, well, it's proven to be a little bit of a difficult task here, as Playwell are not backing down whatsoever. They've got us forced into our half, and have so for quite some time, but not the greatest touch out of Sayrick there, and that, I think, should, no, not lead to a major offense. We're really playing hesitant in this one, Hyferia.
And the booster's running low. That makes everybody a bit stressed out, a bit daunting of a task to go up for a play, since, well, good luck with 0 boost and good luck to try and make a play as well. We get taken now. Internet demoed by Magma. We're still lucky, and Matt's looking to combine passing field behind Magma. He's gonna have to do a flippy turny thingy, and he doesn't manage to do so. And it's actually Mads who ends up to have the ability to go on the counter attack, doesn't quite use it.
We still haven't really broken out past this midfield here. We're playing very patiently, and I wonder if this is just sort of the matchup here. A lot of the teams will see this over-aggression out of Major here, and I say that in a very good way. Get in their face, get them uncomfortable, and get them into an awkward position. To see this patient play of just sort of play defense until eventually they find an opportunity, this is not the usual Major team, and it's keeping us on our toes here. My, oh my, the shot's ripping off, and they have not hit the back of the net, but I don't think we should be giving Playwell this many chances. They're a capable team, and we do not want to underestimate them.
This was also in the previous game where it was continuously sitting back, actually conceding a goal, sitting back, and slowly they started to break out. They need to find that again, as Magma doesn't whip it out wide. It's just no real follow-up, and the touches individually are not quite connecting in the way that they need to have them be. This 50 will sail on deep into the opposing half. Mads might just be able to extend, but also that will be killed at its roots.
Now into the backboard here. Sayrick with a chance to put in the first goal, and they will indeed. And there's the issue with playing such a defensive strategy. You make one mistake, like a miss on the backboard out of Magma, and that can be all it takes to separate the two teams.
You do not expect Magma to miss there, and you see that in the defense as well. But now they've got 90 seconds to try and bring this one back. They need to, if they want to keep a clean record. Good demo to Magma to at least open up some space. Mads uses all his boost to get to this ball, and actually 50's it just wide.
Just wide for now here, and Major now coming down to that little bit of an intense situation with only 75 seconds left. They're looking at the first loss here in this series, and I would be surprised if we take this loss, to be honest. I was not expecting Playwell to have this strong of an appearance against us and to really just make us look so uncomfortable on defense. There's another double commit there. Magma is able to get a touch, but the fact that two players had to go up to even stop that offense together already shows Major looking a little bit uncomfortable here against the offense of Playwell. We need a breakout goal, and we need it now.
Absolutely lucky trying to facilitate that. Mads pops that further, but Internet should be able to get a boom right down the other end. That net is completely open. Magma still back. Gets a touch, but not a save, and that might just very well bury the game for Playwell.
What happened here for Magma? Magma, what are you doing? He moves all the way out to midfield, does a little 180 as if he's going out for a leisurely drive, and then goes back to goal, and there's no way you're getting back to that. The rotations on defense right now just looking frazzled. They look very disorganized, and this is just unusual. This is not the Major team we are used to seeing, and unfortunately for them, it's going to cause them to take a loss here. Unless they can find a miracle in the next 30 seconds, it's looking like Playwell are going to even out the series.
A tied series here, and that would mean our second dropped a game apart from the tie. But Magma, he's got other plans, gets it back, and well, you can harp on all you want, but he does show up in this instance.
All right, well, let's see if they can show up again with 20 seconds left. There is technically a chance we can force an overtime here, and I would say it's a pretty important overtime. We don't want to let Playwell start to build momentum as we get into the back half of this series. Currently in the front half with the first 3 games, but we go into that third game all tied up and with Playwell a lot of momentum. That does not bode well for our team, and you know what else doesn't bode well? A third goal going in for Playwell.
Everybody's just kind of standing around and not quite being able to do anything. That was just Mads needing to challenge earlier, and well, with that miracle almost being facilitated and almost being put on the board, is killed directly. No chance whatsoever anymore unless this goal goes in directly, but I think that tiny touch from Internet might already be enough. Yeah,
I think that's going to be that. No time left on the clock for a comeback here, so Comeback's going to have to happen during the series here. Playwell find themselves a game here and tie up this series. And now, backs against the wall a little bit for Major here. Like we said, game differential going to be really important up at the top. And I don't think we want a tie here. We really are looking for a win. We take a tie. I looked at the scoreboard, so I do understand how the top of this division is now organized a little bit more. All top 3 teams have not taken a loss here. The only real separating factor between us and Nordavind and AW3 is the fact that those 2 teams have 2 ties on their records. We're the only team with a single tie on our record. So we tie up here today. We basically fall even with the rest of those teams, and then it straight up goes to game differential. And Hyferia, we don't want to have to battle them for game differential here. I'd much rather have us just take it based on points alone.
Absolutely. That'd be so much easier. I think the important part of the distinct difference between Nordavind and AW3 having both of them 2 ties is that Nordavind, they tied against AW3 and against us. AW3 tied against Nordavind and against Mustufluk. So they're in such a worse scenario where they have tied against teams who, against a team that they should be winning against if they want to make a run for that top spot. So then it all comes down for them to that 9th week, because I think currently they're doing a very decent job at taking down their current opponent in the Razzle Dazzlers.
Imagine if it really does come down to that 9th week for us. If it really is that final matchup of the entire season, us versus AW3 basically decides who takes that #1 spot. Oh boy, would that be something special. But first, we got to make sure that we can even have a chance to fight for that #1 spot here. Like we said, we need a win against Playwell here. Realistically, we need to at minimum take a tie, but a win's going to be what we're looking for here. We don't want to have to tie against a team this low down in the bracket. No disrespect to Playwell, but the unfortunate reality is where we are in this tournament, we need wins against teams like this if we want to solidify ourselves at the top.
Oh, absolutely, and anything that I've said at this moment is absolutely no disrespect, because Playwell, they're a phenomenal team in their own regard. It's just that we're on the major broadcast. I have to be biased for one, and for two, it's just a certain expectation that indeed major should be winning. But, well, that doesn't matter. That expectation can go out the window, as with the way that Playwell's currently moving across the pitch is looking just as fluent as Major is.
They're looking very, very good here, and that's unfortunate for us. We really don't want to see a lot of confidence out of our opponents. We need to try and find some momentum in our favor. And a shot off target is not going to help that. Another one goes awry here for this major team, and now we're 90 seconds into game number 3, and still neither team has scored. It's been a low-scoring affair so far for both sides here, but the unfortunate reality is that the first goal really has set the tone for either team. Playwell's able to take the first one in this game. They might just take the game as well.
Especially because they then can go on a bit of a backseat rotation and have a bit of a further back third man where they might just be able to hold on a bit better, but at the same time, that will also give up space towards Major. So I think crucial for Playwell is they keep on playing the game that they currently are, because that's exactly what's working for them, and that's exactly what they should be keeping on playing like.
Well, let's see if we can maybe find ourselves a goal off of this attack. Approaching yet again as we approach that 50-50 mark. I was going to more say the halfway mark, but apparently couldn't get that out of my mouth. So, you know what? 50-50s will be shown anyways, because there is a nice 50-50 that'll set up Magma. Can't get another touch, but all of a sudden, Major now going to get a really good offense together here. Magma off the back wall. Can they find one of their teammates? No, they'll find the bump, though. Lucky shot on target, but Choke gets in the way. Huge play there from both sides. Playwell with a fantastic defense, but Major can't really afford that. They need a goal to break this streak.
Be careful with saying 50-50 very often in a row, by the way, because if you do say that into your mirror a few times, 50 Cent will show up at your doorstep.
50 Cent's about to show up at Magma's doorstep with a monster 50 like that. There's the first goal for Major, and it's a big one, a necessary one. They're getting shut out in, I want to say, about 5 minutes of play. We really needed that goal.
Absolutely, a Major. They've now brought it back to a 1-goal lead. Playwell, they're still hunting though, and Choke going underneath. That will land into the net, and Magma can't get back.
Oh no, what a way to erase the momentum we had just fought for. 3 minutes of play back and forth, and all of a sudden it's just a standard shot like that out of choke to hit the back of the net. Well played out of them, especially considering that I believe it was Lucky who went up expecting a 50-50 and it never arrived. So I guess 50 cents helping out both teams at this point. I don't really know who he's in favor of now.
I honestly don't even know anymore. Mads trying to flip reset underneath as well. And sometimes you have those series where you're looking at it, you see it happening in front of your own very eyes. I still have no clue what's actually going on. This feels like Major are trying to force the solo plays, but Playwell are incredibly prepared for it.
That's the big thing here, is it just Playwell don't seem very surprised by anything we've thrown at them so far. I feel like you and I are more surprised than the players on the pitch right now, just because this is not the usual strategy we've seen from Major time and time again, and we don't normally see double commits like this. Magma does eventually back off, but they'd already pre-jumped for it while Lucky was up as well, and it leads to another awkward defense where Playwell can just go right back to the suppressive midfield. So I gotta wonder if we're gonna recognize these changes soon enough, because the rotations do look a little bit sloppy here. It feels like the communication hasn't really been as on point as before, and it's led to a lot of double commits that are just uncharacteristic of this team. Ooh. Oh boy, and another uncharacteristic thing, Magma almost getting dunked. We've seen a lot of 50-50s not go in our favor, Hyferia, and again, another thing, just not familiar to this team.
And Playwell's just, they're playing great, but Magma, oh, what? Sorry, how dare you to get a tap on that? I thought it was a great slowdown from Magma, but Sarek still very much ready. Magma now with a 50. That will land in the favor of Sarek once again, and it might initially look as if that Major won that 50, but sometimes 50s can be delusive.
Just a little bit oh my word, disillusion to what it could actually be. But it doesn't matter, because guess what? This one is a reality. There's no disillusion to this. This is a goal for Major, and it is a big one with 17 seconds left.
And there is no escape from reality from Major, and they have to, or from Playwell, and they have to face the facts, and that's Major currently up by 1. But last time this happened, it was a rapid comeback made by a Playwell themselves. This could happen right here. Internet with a good passing field. Lucky intercepts. Internet still in control. To the backboard he goes. Maz in the clear away. Gets it down right into the corner. Still up. Internet tries to get it into the box. And Choke is there. But Lucky blocks up the initial shot. Magma with a flip reset tries to clear it away. And that will be game number 3.
Oh my word, Major, you guys just like tugging on our heartstrings this week, huh? You saw too many 4-0 sweeps in your favor, so you decided this week, let's scare the casters. Let's get them nervous and get them on the edge of their seats here, because so far this has been way too close for comfort so far. It just kind of feels like Major are waiting until that last minute or so to really start getting that offensive pressure together. They're fine playing defense for the first couple of minutes, but I don't know if that's necessarily a viable strategy. When you've got a team like Playwell who don't necessarily need a lot of offense to get a goal, I would say let's be hesitant here. Let's try and get a little bit more aggression together. And although we did have the overwhelming amount of shots in this game, definitely didn't feel like we had the overwhelming amount of offensive pressure.
I think that's exactly what's going wrong with them, as well as they just need to show their mechanical ability, something that they're not quite managing to do so just yet. Also because Playwell are shutting them down quite nicely. I think the key for victory from Major is to switch it up. Try and go for a passing play every once in a while, then go for a solo play. Try and get that switch up, but let's see what they can do in game number 4.
Let's see. Game number 3. No, you're right. 4 underway here. Apparently, I can't count. That is my caster math showing itself yet again. But one thing I can count is just about 5 minutes on the clock here in a battle, which is going to be very important. Another thing I can count, that's 2 players once again for Major committing on that ball. Another double commit. And the reason we point these out so many times is just that the last couple games we've seen from Major, we almost never see double commits. So to see them so frequently here in this series has definitely been a little bit of an odd occurrence.
Especially against Playwell, we were able to punish them so incredibly well, and they've really all 3 back in the defense for Playwell, but they have a great defensive rotation, know exactly how to play this one out as they keep on slapping it out to the side and absolutely giving no chance for Major to try and break through. And then Playwell, they get into the counter-attack. Choke in the box, and Choke actually going in full confidence, steaming on through, but now it's time for the counter-attack for Major, and well, that was a short-lived one.
What just happened? Okay, Internet almost gets a shot on. Max is going to send this the other way. Confusing play all around here. Major with a I'll call it unorthodox strategy in comparison. No way. Okay, I was about to say, we're going to pass off the ceiling to make the back of the net, and that would have been quite something special here. Major really going a little bit creative with their offense right now, and I'd understand if they were up maybe 1 or 2 goals already, but it's still tied, and we're 90 seconds into this one.
I already said it. I don't really have a clue what's going on. This is an open net. Magma tries to go for the triple, quadruple, hexa tap or whatever he was trying. It didn't matter in the end since it was a miss, and that will stand on his record. Magma still trying to right his wrongs, so it just can't break through.
We're trying our best, but we're getting caught up in this corner right now. Maybe Mads can break that here. Solo play could do something special, but no, Choke immediately on top of that one, and lucky, I don't think that was the touch they weren't going for right there. Sayric's gonna have an easy clear on out, and should be a follow-up from Internet, but no, it's a follow-up from Mads and Choke, who just kind of have an awkward 50-50 out of midfield. Internet will put a shot on target that Magma will save, but this has a weird feeling to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that we are getting such a frequent amount of 50-50s on both sides, but this just feels so heavily contested on every play. I have to wonder what's going to break it. Could have been that for Magma, but just not quite able to get it past the bar.
Instead of going for the double tap, you could have just ripped a shot directly, made it awkward, placed it somewhere in the corner, try and wrong foot them, have them clear it off awkwardly to the side, but instead they go for the ceiling and try to set up the double tap. It's a bit too extravagant for this particular moment. You're only up by absolutely 0, and with 2 minutes remaining, I think it's time to start scoring for Major.
Yeah, I think it's time that we find a really solid first shot that puts it into the back of the net and just sort of gets this offense going here. We talk about this a lot, Hyferia, that catalyst, that thing that starts the team and ignites that fire underneath them. We haven't really seen that yet for Major here. It just kind of feels like it's been a very tentative back and forth with a lot of really intense moments that just feel a little bit I don't know, overindulgent is the best way to really put it here. It just doesn't feel like Major are really having that same sort of snap to their offense that we are so used to. And we are critical of them for that because of the fact that we are used to that. We've seen it week after week. This is week number, 8 of this? Week 7 of this league at this point? This shouldn't be one of these things where we're still trying to figure out our offense here. We have it down. We've got a strategy. It's just time for us to now execute that.
Yeah, I think we can be incredibly critical of a team that's currently not taking a loss just yet and are not looking great against Playwell here. Somebody who is currently 7th, number 1 seed, losing against number 7th, or having a tough time with the 7th. That just kind of spells trouble if you go into the playoffs. Confidence is a massive thing, and you need that to up that as the shot goes on. And just way too hard for Sarak to try and clear that away.
Finally, a boomer on target here. This was just a ripper of a shot out of Lucky there, and to be honest, I don't think it was one that was initially intended. I think Mads wanted the double touch off the backboard there, but recognizing they weren't going to get the touch, they called it off and said one of the teammates needed to take the shot. I want to see that more. I don't want to see as many solo plays. I'd love to see team plays like that where a booming pass goes to a booming shot. Speaking of booming shots, Internet tries to even this one up with about 45 seconds left, and there's actually technically a chance here. Playwell on the prowl, and I'll be the first to admit it. Our defense has looked rather awkward this game, so we've got to be careful. If we give too much pressure to Playwell, there's a chance we see overtime.
It's incredibly important for a Major to just close this out in regulation, at least look up the tie and see whether you can create the momentum from there on out. But Playwell, they're hunting. Internet pops that up. It's a bit out of reach for Cyrax, so he has to go across to the pitch. Lucky extends towards the opposing side. Choke with the touch out wide. Internet, the player to follow up, tries to go for the 50, but Mads still reads that very nicely. Lucky up high. They need to keep this ball under control.
Uh-oh, but they're not quite able to do so. Choke's got a good air dribble here. He's going to get one last offense for this Playwell side, and Internet, I think, might have just sold the game. Yeah, that was not the pass they were intending, and as a result, Major just going to barely hold on here. We secure ourselves a tie at minimum. At this point, I'm okay if we throw the next 2 games. Please don't do that, Major. I'd prefer that you guys take the win, but a tie is what we needed, Hyferia. We needed a tie to just solidify ourselves still in that number 1 position going into the final week of games. So I'm happy we are there. I'd much prefer we get a win. Please do get a win, but I'm just happy at minimum we've secured ourselves a tie.
I am gonna have strong words with them if they do not manage to win this one outright. If they tie this one up against Playwell, that just spells massive trouble for the series next week, right? When we're against Nordavind or against AW3, sorry. You just want to be taking this one home directly.
You just can't afford to slip up this close to playoffs here, because it doesn't only spell trouble going against the AW3 next week, it spells trouble going to playoffs. If you take a loss to a team, or even a tie to a team that is this low down in the bracket, all of a sudden what that means is that you show vulnerability. Every other team who's been looking at you all season with a target on your back goes, oh, they're beatable. We can win against this team. So we cannot allow that to happen. We need to take the win right here, right now. Show that that first game we took out of a loss against Playwell was just a fluke. That is all that it is. It was one off game, and we won't show it again. We're trying to get that back. It does feel like that last win has instilled a lot of confidence, because our offense is starting to look like the offense we know and love.
Exactly. Trying to suffocate the opponent as Internet finally has a breakaway. A bit of a breathing moment. A choker taken over. That's a fitting name for the analogy I was using. Moving on though, it doesn't quite matter, as this will land into the books. Internet cleared it away. All right,
so in that, oh my word, I was gonna start making some puns about the players' names and all of that, but I don't think we need to. Magma, I'll make one pun about you. You might have started off cold, but you are red hot at this point, my friend. Just absolutely incredible turnaround out of Magma.
Absolutely lovely stuff, and he showed up in the first game as well quite massively. It's just a bit awkward at times. Let's just see whether they can continue it. 4 minutes still on the clock. Magma needs to get this in field. Good clear away. Lucky, absolutely no boost in the tank. Decides to fake it away and still has the same amount of boost. Uses it then and there. Mads pops it up. Tries to get it into Magma, but that double commit is not going to help them. Oh, this is just the goal.
Oh my gosh, no way. Oh, that would have been incredible had Lucky used that flip reset to slam that one home. But Hyferia, our offense is back. This is normally what we do. We lock a team into their half, use a good midfield presence, and then rip off shot after shot until eventually one hits the back of the net. It won't be that one, but the fact that we have kept this offensive pressure up for almost about 90 seconds straight shows Major are back, and they're ready to finish off this series.
And that's exactly what they need to have. Get the confidence flow and get it through their head that this is not just a simple one-off game. This just shows Playwell are extremely in it. They have a great chance, even against the top team. Seeing Playwell in that bottom position, either they've had a lot of improvement throughout the season, or they've just had a few unlucky times where they couldn't quite find the form that they were looking for, but they found form here, and they need to keep that going. Oh my word, Choke and Sarek flying underneath it, and those are the instances you need to be finishing off.
Yeah, we got to be careful here. Playwell have plenty of time to get back into this one, and all they need is that one goal. We've been talking about the Catalyst all day, and while we've been looking for one for Major, it's very possible that Playwell can find one here during the back half of this game, and they need it. They need it to just survive at this point. They lose this game, it's the end of the series. They win this one, they will be one game away from tying the #1 team in Telialigaen, and again, we have to continue reiterating this. We do not want a tie here. It's okay, a tie will still keep us in first place, but the goal of this game is by far get the win.
Yeah, for sure, and I think we're still looking pretty decent, and no, that's not looking pretty decent. I was already looking at the scoreboard, doing some calculating, doing some maths, but this is also a decent maths by Choker sniping out the angle.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot at Choke. You got to give credit where it is due. And again, this is why we say you've got to be careful against Playwell here. They don't necessarily need a large amount of shots. They just need some good ones. And at 3 shots total through 3 minutes of play, it goes to prove that they're just waiting for their golden opportunities. They found one. Can they find another? I'd like to hope not. Again, we really do want to take the win here in game number 5. Game differential is a big thing in this league as well. So if we give up another game, it's going to be detrimental to our chances of getting that #1 seed.
1 minute 50 left to try and end this in regulation. Magma pops it up high. Choke still on the backboard. Clears it away. Internet and Sarek both lurking underneath as Madzine tries to lurk underneath that ball as well. Not voluntarily though. Just completely missed the play. Lucky and Mads double commit. They need to be careful because Mads this time is out of rotation because he double committed Magma. Clears it away to the side. It looks for the boost as well. Does indeed get it. But now it's Mads on the cover up of that play. Also gets in the way of it.
Getting in the way here, but we've been locked into our half for quite some time, and this is looking rather awkward. Our defense not able to find a booming clear for the life of us, and we need one. With 70 seconds left in a tie ball game, we would much prefer to not go to overtime here. And, ooh, maybe we can find that. No, Magma just kind of pops it against the wall for themselves out of midfield here. Lucky will get a goal.
No.
What?
This just hurts. This is pain. Choke completely faked out his teammate. He didn't have the boost for it, and I guess he must have called that he did have the boost.
I hate to say it, Hyferia. We've been talking about puns all day. I think we have to make that one choked.
No. No, we
Yes.
don't have to make that one.
Yes, we do.
No, why do we?
Because it would Rocket League and the gods that may. Yeah.
Yep, that's enough of him. That's plenty of time to try and come back in this game for Playwell. I said plenty of time. There's only 30 seconds left, and they're talking about coming back. Like, you know, I think we've given him enough of a timeout. He might actually be casting as well.
Hyferia, have I lost?
Sorry?
Have I lost you?
Oh yeah, your connection dropped. Sorry.
What about now?
I don't know. What have you got to say about this play?
It's pretty lucky.
So unfortunate, that internet, eh? That internet just keeps on getting to him. But apart from that, that does pretty much secure the major win, and one that was expected, but very hard fought by Playwell.
I saw you disconnect, and I was like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. All right, well, Major, take the win here. I know you've already announced it, but they'll take it anyways. They move on to stay with their undefeated streak and will not tie against Playwell. It was scary for a moment there, my friend, but we held on, and we take the win.
Whew, we held on, and that's exactly what we had to do, and now we are moving to a very decent scenario. Actually, they're doing some maths. I took a look at it, right? I took a look at it, and it is a bit scary because, right, what we've already said before is that Nordavind, they tied against us and AW3, and in total have dropped 8 games. We now have dropped 5 games, where if we tie against AW3, that means we're tied with Nordavind, at which I don't know what's going to happen, because they're going to go positive more. Right?
Which is why we continue to reiterate, game differential, such an important thing here today. Wait, what against Mustafluk?
Nordavind against Mustafluk.
That's going on now?
No, it's next week, so that could be spicy as well. They might just tie that one up. If Mustafluk are feeling spicy,
we're going to have the top 4 teams playing against each other. Oh my. That is going to be something else. We're going to really have a final week of this one. Hyferia, I honestly, now looking at what next week is going to be, considering the other teams battling around us, we really needed this win here today.
Absolutely. And we didn't quite get it quite in the way that we were looking for. One loss, and that just makes it a bit more awkward. As I say, with the score standings, we'd be tying with Nordavind if we do tie it up next week as well, and that's just not the way you want to be seeing it. It's unfortunate if we drop games which are a bit unnecessary, but apart from that, we do move on, and we do go to that final week of the regular season, that is, because after that we've still got a phenomenal playoffs.
Or imagine we go into playoffs with 3 undefeated teams at this point. That would just be, it'd be something else, to put it simply here. But we're going to have to find out. That'll do it for the major broadcast for this week. For myself, for Hyferia, and for all of you guys at home, we want to thank you guys for everything here today. It's been a fantastic season so far, and we're looking to close it off with yet another win here. Major, the only team with a single tie all season and 0 losses. Nordavind and AW3 have both taken 2 ties, but we could see a tie next week against AW3. We're going to have to find out. We're going to close it out here today. Thank you guys, like we said, for tuning in. We will see you next time, or next week, actually, for the final regular season major broadcast. So stay tuned. It's going to be an incredible one. We'll see you next time.